If you're watching this video, you're looking to calculate the age of someone or something using a spreadsheet. And most likely you've looked around the internet, you've found a couple different functions that'll work, but they're just kind of complicated. They're not very easy to understand. And Google Sheets has a formula that'll do this for you with this in mind. So it's relatively simple because when you're calculating age, you really only need a few inputs and a couple variables. So the formula that does it is called DATEDIF or DateDifference. And if you look in one of the cells down here, you could see I have it. Input in the cell. And the DateDiff function has three different inputs. The first one is a start date. So I've referenced the date of birth in this case. The second one is the end date. So I've referenced this column. And the third one is the unit, and we're going to talk more about that later. This shared spreadsheet is available if you go to my website. I'm going to show you a link for it and search for calculate age. You can click on it. It'll bring you to the Google Sheet, and feel free to copy the spreadsheet, use it however you want. I've laid it out in a way that it's meant to show you what the different units do and how you can string them together if you want. So this is the beginning data, and I recycle this data throughout. In the first row, I'm going to show you how to end up with age by years, months, and days. This person is 17 years old, 17 years old, and 7 months and 5 days. So these functions know that you've already calculated the years, and this one knows you only want days in that last month. So how you do this is the years is the DateDiff formula with a Y as a unit. This next one is YM, and this next one is MD. What YM and MD really stand for, I'm not really sure, but it doesn't matter because now you know what they do. If you want it readable in English, you can string them together using concatenate. And I just did that by looking up the value in cell D14, and which means joining it with the string that says space, years, comma, space, and then repeating the same process. I'm joining the months, and then I'm joining the days, and that presents it this way. Now let's go down to an explanation of what the M unit is and the MD unit. The M is the number of whole months this person is, and the MD is the days after the month. You see, it's the same function as we used right here, but it makes sense to trail after this if you want months and days. If you want years and days, that's when you would use the YD function. So this person's 17 years old and then 217 days old in that last year. And then the last function is just a D. All it does is calculate days. Now, this leads to a good illustration of how Google Sheets stores dates. I've already unformatted these. The date 8/28/16 is really just 42,610. It's an integer. 123,899 is really just this. So if you use the DateDiff function, it tells you the number of days. But really, since they're just integers, you can just subtract the two. You can subtract 2, that'll get you days. You can't really subtract the 2 and divide by 365 for years, though, because of leap year, and you certainly can't do any of these more advanced functions. So the DateDiff function in Google Sheets is really helpful. It's powerful. If all you're trying to do is sort a large table of data by its age, and you only need to do probably this last simple formula. But if you want it readable, if you want it in years, months, days, the DateDiff function comes in handy. So I hope you found that helpful. That's about all there is to go over with the DateDiff function.